Hello and welcome to today's edition of Taekwondo Life Magazine Live. My name is Mark Sirianis and we are a member of the Believe Sports Network. Believe is the #1 sports and podcast network for professionals. Today, I'm very honored to have as a special guest, Kyosanim Jason Aptekar, excuse me. His name is easy, my name is hard, but I messed up his name. Jason Aptekar. Jason happens to be somebody that I know for a long time, that I've trained with. He is a Kyosanim, which means instructor for Taekwondo. It's not merely that he instructs or that he teaches, as we all do who are high belts, but he is a certified instructor. He's earned the rank. He is a Taekwondo high-ranking black belt. He is a Taekwondo competitor. He is former head of demo teams. He's competed in demo. He's trained. He's really done it all. He's been somebody who's been by my side at many of the tournaments. He as well as volunteering, he handles a lot of technology, and he helps get through a very long day very easily. So I want to introduce Jason. Jason, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure.
So I'm going to allow Jason to introduce himself, tell you a little bit about his Taekwondo journey, and I'm talking to him today. You know, many times I tend to sometimes exclude people that I know that would be great guests, because I sometimes go, all right, well, that's somebody that I know that I don't necessarily know that anybody else. I try not to say, well, that's my relationship. Maybe it's not a relationship for the world. And that's really not fair to somebody like you who has a lot to share with the world. So when Jason and I spoke, he's got something very important that's coming up that he's been working for, something that really is of great benefit to the world, to the Taekwondo community, and something that I think the Taekwondo community could really be of assistance in supporting this great cause. So I wanted to give him an opportunity to tell his story. Before we do that, I wanted to give a word from our sponsor. Our sponsor is Bet Online. Bet Online is your online sportsbook expert. And I want you to go over to betonline.ag. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. BetOnline has you covered for all the news, scores, and odds. It's the best way to place your bets, and it's free to sign up today. Head over to betonline.ag and use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. And I've talked in the past that BetOnline, you can bet on anything. You can bet on the Academy Awards that just passed. You could bet on PFL. And Jason, we're going to talk a little bit about marathon running. I'm sure that every marathon that comes up, New York City, Boston, you can bet on who's going to win, what country, what the time is going to be, so on and so forth. So Jason, thank you for joining us. So Jason, you have a very interesting Taekwondo journey. You like many people, have been doing this for a while. Tell us how you got involved in Taekwondo. Give us a little bit of a brief summary before we get into what we're here to talk about today. But tell us about how you got into Taekwondo and how you came to this place where you are today.
So, Mark, you know this, but I'll share that I've been training and studying Taekwondo now for over 30 years. And it's something that when I was in college, I got curious about. There was a school down the street from my dorms and where I was staying. I walked in one day and asked a bunch of questions about where the equipment was and what was going on. And the nice young man who was sweeping up the floor, tried to explain to me that the room is what's important and the people, and I didn't understand it. He even said, go look in the locker rooms and the storage room. And all I saw was lockers and a bunch of pile of of pads and things. I didn't get it. So he suggested that I sit down and I watch a class. I got very lucky, and as I think many people do when they walk into an established school. The school I walked into was Sang Lee's Taekwondo Academy in Binghamton. It had been founded by Grandmaster Sang Lee, who then went on to be instrumental in Colorado Springs in helping put together and found the Olympic training grounds there. He handed off his school to Master Chung-Sik Choi, who is a former Pan American Games athlete, and just an all-around amazing guy. We call him a mensch. Just did good things, and I got lucky. I walked in, he was there. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know that I had walked into something special in the tradition, but I learned it really quickly because I was clueless. And he suggested maybe I should just sit. There'd be a class in 5 minutes. And then if I had any questions, I could ask people afterwards. And out of nowhere, it seemed to me, about 35 people just appeared. The parking lot was suddenly full, parents with their kids, a guy on a motorcycle. I mean, people from all walks of life and all ages, and they were all super friendly to each other and to me. They went in, came back out, all in uniform, different colored belts, lined up with the senior black belts in the front, which I could tell, and they started class. I didn't realize that wasn't class. That was the warm-up. But for 10 minutes, I'm watching this thinking, oh my God, I want to do this. And then the guy I had been speaking with comes in uniform, and everybody stops, turned to him and bows. And he took over the class and started running it. And I realized I had been speaking with the headmaster instructor of the school. I started to learn right there a little bit about humility. You know, he didn't need to tell me anything. He just wanted me to see it and learn, and I would figure it out for myself. I was hooked. Absolutely hooked. I stayed and trained for a year and a half, 2 years, was getting ready to train and study for my black belt when I had to move back down to New York and start the next phase of my life. I asked Master Choi where I should go. And well, he said, you go to my grandmaster, who coached me in the Pan American Games. You're going to go train with Grandmaster Y.H. Park out on Long Island. And I said, okay, knowing nothing. Right. I got lucky and I ended up at Y.H. Park in 1989-90. It was an amazing journey. I actually had to start my study all over again because Master Choi was teaching the traditional Palgway forms.
Yes.
At Y.H. Park Taekwondo, you could call it cutting edge. We were doing taeguks and we were also doing samanchuks and all these other routines. And there was a real curriculum beyond just learning the forms and the concepts, which is enough. But the curriculum really just took it to a whole nother level. And we were training both as a sport and as a traditional art. And there was a lot of depth to what we were doing then and continues to be.
Great introduction, and I share it, and I always consider myself to be, and I think you feel the same way, the luckiest person in modern martial arts based on the fact that I went from my introduction to martial arts with Duck Sung and Robert Jenkins Clark to Y.H. Park, and I said, to have two such great experiences and to end up at the where we are today with the Park family and the new generation of training, that I'm very, very fortunate. And I always wonder about people's experiences. If I never try to lose sight of the fact that it's such a great and important journey that we've taken. And I think you hit on something there, which is interesting before we get into the topic, which is that if you have a really good program, the greatest sales and marketing tool in the world is to just let somebody sit and watch your class. I had the same experience. And then once I saw it, I was, ready to go, and the next step is that trial class. But sitting and watching it, it really does, you sort of find yourself in a situation where you can't help but want to get out on the mat. So
there's another element to that too, which is when everybody's in alignment in the class, in the school, you understand what your values are. You communicate the guidelines and the values of your school, of your training, of your study, right, of your thought. Then people will be pulled along the journey. You won't have to sell it. You don't have to go out and promote the same way because the people who are doing it love it and they want to share it.
Right. Exactly right.
Bring people along the journey with them, which is what I have always wanted to do.
Right. It becomes the Ken Blanchett raving fans
absolutely
model. So, all right. So, Jason, I want to talk again. Time is always limited, but you have something that is starting on Sunday, May 2nd. You've been working very hard for it. It's part of something greater. It's part of something bigger than yourself. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us what it is and how you got involved.
So, I think that we all benefit when we do things that are associated with a vision of what we'd like the world to be, where we'd like the world to go. And I have a vision where we're going to celebrate life, appreciate our differences, communicate with one another. And I have a personal mission about that, and also, by the way, appreciate the environments that we live in, that we create for one another, that we inhabit with one another. And I want to leave it a better place than I found it. I want to be a good steward to this world. And my mission really is to be of service, to inspire others to be of service. We have so much wisdom and so much knowledge and information that we didn't have even 20, 30 years ago. There's no reason why we can't leave this a better place than we found it. And I really want to do that. So for me, that's very personal. It starts with vision. I have a mission. I use the 5 aims of Taekwondo as we've learned them as guidelines for my behavior and my thought: respect, humility, perseverance, self-control, honesty. These are not just words. These really are concepts that help you look at the world around you, help you grow and integrate your life with the greater world around you. Respect for yourself and others, always. Humility, you never know what you're going to learn from somebody. The guy was sweeping up the floor. I had no idea who he was. Right. My first headmaster instructor, and an amazing, amazing guy. So just respect, humility, perseverance. You don't earn a black belt in a year or 2 years. You earn a black belt by becoming a black belt, by taking the journey. And it's not a journey that gets taken, overnight. It takes time to actually become something over time.
Absolutely, it's transformational.
And transformation, absolutely. Self-control. This is a really important one. We have to learn self-control. We don't start out with it. We certainly can't control other people and the things around us in the world. The world is going to do what the world is going to do. And right. It's up to us to define ourselves by how we deal with the world around us. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to react? Are you going to wake up in a good mood tomorrow and try to do the best and help people? Or are you going to, close up and hide? And for me, that's a big deal. And self-control is something you learn over time. And if you're really lucky over time, then you will gain enough self-control that you can then influence people and things around you because of your self-control. You can't control them, but you can influence them. And obviously, I will want to influence things in a positive way to make things better and to share things.
Sure.
And the last one is honesty, because at the end of the day, if you don't do the 10 push-ups, you're the one that knows you didn't do the 10 push-ups, and you're the one that'll either benefit or not benefit from doing the 10 push-ups, not your instructor, not me, right? Not your parents. So be honest with yourself and others, and you'll, I just believe that. So with these aims, kind of shaping my behavior in my life, I had an experience, as many people did years ago, that was, again, transformative. I'm a 9/11 survivor. I was working in One World Financial Center down on 9/11. And I had worked for a year prior to this at Cantor Fitzgerald at the top of the North Tower.
Sure.
That morning, I had friends that I was talking to about going for lunch. Walked through the towers, went to my office. We were negotiating whether or not we were actually going to have lunch at one place or another. And then they had to cancel on me. My friends had to cancel on me because some guy in Tokyo named Yuichi had messed something up, and they had to stay in the office to do it. And the next thing I know, hell was breaking loose, and it was a really awful day. And I'm not here to talk about that, but I, along with a lot of other people, I'm still here.
Right.
And that's important, because we had people who tried to determine who we were. We have people out there, I'll call them haters. You can call them whatever you want. They don't wish people well. They don't want to see people improve. And they wanted to determine who we were going to be, both individuals and as a culture. That's what terrorism
Sure.
is. And yet New York and America and the world, we didn't let that happen. And for me, my training and study in the martial arts, especially in Taekwondo with the 5 aims, I knew you always get up one more time than you fall down, because that's what we do and we learn from it. And I was able to get up the next day, and I was very busy for quite a while. It was a very important experience for me, but I didn't give up, and I couldn't process it all at once, but I took time. Again, a transformative journey. Something happened in November of that year that has really driven home to me the importance of these other things. In November, while we were dealing in New York with anthrax and bomb threats and terrorism, and we were being evacuated from buildings, and people were scared to go on the trains, and we didn't know what was going to happen next, and we were starting a war in the Middle East supposedly to protect ourselves, and an amazing thing happened. People came from around the world to New York and ran the New York City Marathon. And for me, that was this amazing shining moment of self-determination, of commitment, of not allowing others to say who you're going to be, and also of showing support for us here in New York. That was a really big deal. And it truly did inspire me. And since then, I've been saying to myself, wow, you really should run that race. That was an amazing thing to see. And so are other races that raise awareness, like Tunnel to Towers and other things. But the New York City Marathon, to me, was just an incredible event that year. And the way people came and treated it was extraordinary. And it has inspired me ever since. Well, now, this is the 20th anniversary this year, 2021, of, unfortunately, 9/11. So I've decided that this year, for me, and for anybody who wants to come along with me on the journey, 2021 is a year of challenge and service in tribute to 9/11, the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and to the ongoing fight against cancer. And some people have asked me why cancer, because over 500,000 people were exposed to all kinds of horrible toxic carcinogens and waste back then around the towers when they came down, and we continue to lose people because of it. And there, we don't have to. We can come together and put our resources and our hearts and our wills together and do something about this. There's an organization, a national organization that is involved, called the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. They've been raising money and awareness about the fight against cancer, for years and years. They do research on blood cancers, but 60% of the other cancer research benefits from the work that they do.
Sure.
To me, that's an amazing thing. All right. They have their own vision and mission of a world without cancer. And their mission is to study and wipe out blood cancers. And then they have actions to try to get them there, goals along the way. They put teams together. One of those teams is called Team in Training, and where somebody like myself will captain a team for a cause at a challenge or an event, raise some money and some awareness along the way. But I'm not like other people, and they recognize that. So most people would take on a challenge and focus on one challenge, raise the money and the awareness, and then they're done. And that's not what I'm doing. 2021, it's a year, it's a whole year. We're not running this isn't a sprint. We're living life.
Okay. This is important. Yeah, this is important that people understand and who are listening. So tell me. So explain this part of it, the nuts and bolts part of it.
So the nuts and bolts part of it are, I have put together a team of people, and I'm looking for more people to join that team and go on this journey with me. We're raising money, but what we're doing is taking on challenges this year, and tell me what challenges you want me to take on. The first one that we're taking on as a team is this Sunday, May 2nd. There's a marathon out of Cincinnati called the Flying Pig, and I will be running a half marathon in New York. So it's called a virtual version of it. That's my challenge to start my year of challenges. I know it's May, but I've been training for this. I actually started running with this kind of thing in mind back in January of 2020. And started talking to people at LLS and discussing what I wanted to do at the end of 2020. Put the team together, and we're going to be taking on multiple challenges. Some people bike, some people run. I do both. Some people swim. Some people just want to get out and walk for certain events. That's all fine. It doesn't matter what you do. What matters is that you get up every morning and you make a decision about making the world a better place for yourself and for the people that you're living with and for the people that come after us. And this is a big one. The fight against cancer, and recognizing, the 20th anniversary of a time when people tried to scare us into being somebody else, and, scare us into not being who we want to be. So 2021, right, a year of challenge and service in tribute to the 20th anniversary of 9/11 and the ongoing fight against cancer. And it will end with myself and as many members of the team as we can get crossing the finish line in November for the New York City Marathon.
Okay.
And that's a year of commitment that I'm asking people to enjoy and to come on this journey with me, even if all you do is cheer and tell me I'm not training enough and complain that, I'm running sideways instead of running forwards, but I just want people to enjoy it and participate and celebrate the fact that we're still here and we get to decide who we are and what we want to do.
It's great. It's a wonderful thing, and I applaud you and I applaud your team. So let me ask you a couple of questions to flesh it out. So based on what you're saying, all of the events are not yet established in the sense that there may be events and challenges that may pop up between this Sunday and the New York City Marathon.
Absolutely. And I'm looking for people to suggest things. By the way, I have people on my team in Vermont, in California, in Connecticut, right? Not just in New York and on Long Island where I am. So my team members in California may run, if they do the California International Marathon, we may have some people in that. We may decide to do the Chicago virtually, but we're gonna find them along the way, and we're gonna take on challenges that people suggest to us, and really just enjoy it.
That's great. And so that leads into my next question, which you sort of answered, which is that if someone were to want to get involved, they don't necessarily have to participate in each of the challenges. They can participate in the ones that are that they're able to, or that are convenient for them, or things of that nature, and still be part of this terrific effort.
Absolutely. You can be a member of the team, and you can be what's called a cheerleader, where all you need to do is show up and share the word and tell people about it, and just make sure people know what we're doing and why, so that we can inspire other people to live their best lives, to take control of the world around them and not let others determine it. And then there are people who want to run with me, or who want to take on other challenges, right? So, all right, maybe you can't run a half marathon. I certainly haven't ever officially run a half marathon before. This is a first for me. I started running, like I said, last year. So the idea that I'm going to run a marathon at all, let alone multiple this year, it's fun, it's challenging, but not everybody can do that or wants to do that. So I have people who are going to be running 5Ks when I run a half marathon, who will be running a 10K. We're going to look for triathlons where maybe we'll do a team for a triathlon where one person will run, one person will bike, one person will swim. Maybe we'll have people who do all of it. Maybe we'll do, a mud run or something. But the goal is to bring people together, to put our effort together, to enjoy and share what makes us different, what makes us unique, and to do it all towards a common goal.
Great. So there's a front-facing part and a back-facing part. And the front-facing part, of course, is the physical aspects of it and the show of support and the camaraderie. And the back-facing part of it, certainly equally important, is the money that's raised. So let's talk a little bit about that. In terms of people, and we're going to post all of these links, but for people who want to financially support, is it based upon per mile? Is it a flat donation? Are there mixes of opportunities? How does the donation portion of it work for people who are interested in supporting from a financial standpoint?
So thank you for highlighting this, because one of the reasons I chose this approach is because LLS, Leukemia Lymphoma Society, is doing such amazing work. And I want them to be properly and effectively funded going forward. And fundraisers like this are the things, they're the lifeblood of organizations like LLS. Personal donations can be any amount of money, any amount. I've had people give $18, $10, $6. Some people give $500, $1,000. You have to give what you're comfortable with, what you feel is appropriate for yourself as a personal donation. If you want to challenge yourself and donate 10 or 20 or $50 per mile I run official races or in training, great. Let me know. Let's arrange it. We'll figure it out. Then you have your own challenge, right, along the way. But it really is an individual's choice, what they want to do. But there is also an opportunity here for corporate sponsorships. And this, for me, is maybe financially could be a bigger benefit for the organization. There are plenty of companies that were impacted by 9/11 who have people who work for them or own them or who they lost because of 9/11 in one way or another, and they can show their support by being sponsors. Okay, and an LLS sponsorship starts at $5,000, but there are companies that budget tens of thousands of dollars a year for charitable giving and not-for-profits. And I want to make sure that everybody that hears me knows that LLS needs the money to do better and to do more. They're doing amazing things, but they can do more. And I will be talking about all of the corporate sponsors as we go through the year. So I think there's going to be value. We're going to be talking about a lot of things for a long time, and the people and the businesses that support us are going to get some exposure from it as well.
That's great. And again, so that you don't have to know all of or give all of the information, because we are going to link it. But if someone were just watching this, what would be the easiest way for them to get in touch for either corporate donation or personal donation, or to join the team? Are they the same avenue in terms of contact, or are they're different for each of those?
No, it's one channel to make it really easy. You can Google LLS Team in Training, Team Thrive, and that's us. We will give you and post the links, but they have a combination of letters and codes and stuff, so it's not easy for me to just rattle it off. And you might not write it down right, but if you Google Team Thrive, LLS Teams in Training, Team Thrive, that should get you to where I am, and you'll see that the page that we have set up says we have a vision. Our vision is a world without cancer, and our mission is to provide as much support and awareness to LLS as possible, because they're doing such amazing things. And then the goal we're setting, right, is to run as many events and raise as much awareness along the way as possible. We're making it really specific. And by the way, being specific like this is what we learn in our training, isn't it? I mean, to connect what you're doing every day, the tasks and the actions that you're doing every day, everything that you do, connect it to your values, connect it to the vision you have of the world that you'd like to live in, and figure out, if you can, what your personal commitment and contribution to that is going to be. That's your mission. So we have vision, mission, we have core values, we've got goals, we've got actions, and all these things come together in the study and the training of martial arts, because we really do, as many of you know, and Mark, you and I have talked about this, it's about looking bigger. About being aware that we are bigger. We can be bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely. I think it's wonderful what you're doing. I think it fits in so well to, I know, your personal mission, your personal life, core values. I think it fits in well. Listen, I just recently wrote an article about how the martial arts community got together to force HBO to renew Bruce Lee, Shannon Lee's television show Warrior, which had been canceled when Cinemax stopped making programming, right? So we'll say, well, what's the relationship? The relationship is that the martial arts community is a very powerful community. And when they put their mind to something, when they put their efforts into something, they can accomplish great things. Think about, it's wonderful to have a television show renewed, but how much more wonderful would it be to wipe out cancer? So that's one of the reasons why we're talking today. I applaud you for spearheading this, for being in the forefront of this. It's knowing you as long as I do, it certainly doesn't shock me, but I'm glad to be able to share it. I want to give you a moment. We have a moment or two in winding down. Is there anything else that you want to be able to? And we're going to link a lot of this information. If anybody wanted to get in touch with you, or do you have anything that you want to say in winding down this episode?
I do, and I appreciate that last moment. And by the way, what you just said about the martial arts community coming together for a cause with a mission, that's what this is about too, right? We can choose to put our energy towards things like making sure that somebody is treated right through the media industry, and making sure that is done. And we can also put our energy towards making ourselves better people and influencing the communities that we live in and the world that we live in to be a better place. That's what personal development and self-focus can become, about bettering the community. And that's what I'm doing here. Why do I want people to do this? Listen, you get to decide who you are. But be mindful about that and be aware that everybody is different. But we can come together for something like this. You can make a really big difference, and you can feel really, really good about it along the way. I know I'm going to be in better shape when I'm done than I am when I started. And even though I've been training for 30 years, running is different. But it's about self-determination. And my decision is to be positive, is to use the connections and the relationships that I have, to do something good, to leave this world a better place than I found it. I think we can all do that. We're all committed to this through the study of martial arts and the training of making ourselves better and our communities better and safer. I want to give people, a very specific tool to use this year. I would ask, right, in the world of business, we want to be specific. Please find some way to support this effort, whether it's financially or by talking about it, and tell 5 people the same. Because if each person tells 5 people, then lots of people are going to be involved very quickly. And there's no reason why you can't share something that makes people feel good and that is going to save lives.
Well, that's great. And we hope to track your journey. We hope that personally you're successful. We hope that the effort is successful, and we look forward to speaking to you further in the future about this. And I applaud you on behalf of Taekwondo Life Magazine and on behalf of the Taekwondo community for really doing something that is really wonderful. So thank you for taking time out of your schedule to talk to us today.
Mark, thank you for having me on. And I'm already successful because it's not the end goal. It's the journey along the way. And I'm doing the things I want to do, and I'm influencing people the way I want. And I appreciate, you're taking the time to speak to me about this and sharing it with other people.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Jason. And this episode has been brought to you by betonline.ag. Thank you. Jason, talk to you soon.